Now, I want to ask you about AJ. We know back in June, Andy Ruiz Jr shocked the world and took Joshua's titles away. You probably know Joshua better than most, having trained him earlier in his career. I'm sure there's still a relationship there as well. How easy do you think he'll find it to come back from his first professional defeat?
It's never easy to come back from your first professional defeat, and you've got to show signs of, like, he's got to show signs that he is a true champion and come back a different fighter and beat Ruiz. I don't think it's going to be an easy fight, because I think Ruiz is a good fighter. People underestimated him. When I watched him, when he boxed Joe Parker, I watched him against him, and that was such a close way for him fight. I thought he should have got the decision in that fight. Obviously, he's over in New Zealand and he never got it. So, in reality, really, he was going into that fight. He could have been unbeaten, and he's a good fighter. He's a proper Mexican sort of fighter. He comes, stands his ground. He's got quick hands. He can let his hands go. And AJ's got to be really smart in this fight. You can't be standing in the trenches with Ruiz. He's got to be smart, box behind the jab and get his feet moving and all long-range punching. He's got to get his defence together as well. He's got to be able to slip and ride them shots. There's a lot of work for him to do before he gets in with Ruiz. I would have rather seen him had a fight or two in the interim and got, worked on what he needs to do with Ruiz, getting similar sort of opponents in, and worked on what he needed to work on. Because if you look at like what Tyson Fury's done, he jumped into that fight with Wilder when, he weren't really 100% ready for that fight, but he jumped at the chance, he took his chance. Most people thought he won the fight, but since then he's like getting himself together. He's training in the gym, he's fighting, he's going to have 3 fights and then probably fight Wilder again, which he'll be in a much better situation mentally and physically. He'd learn even more by the time the 3 fights comes round, and you got to really fancy him to beat Wilder next time. So I would have liked to have seen AJ do that, get a couple of fights in the interim. He's always going to be in a massive fight, AJ. But knowing him and knowing what he's like, he'll believe that he can go and do a job on Ruiz, and that's obviously why he's going back into the fight straight away. But it's not going to be easy.
It's pride as well, isn't it? I suppose someone's beating you, taking your titles, first person to beat him as a pro as well. Knowing AJ, obviously you know him a lot better than I do, he's going to want that revenge as soon as possible, I guess.
Yeah, of course. Revenge is always a sweet thing in boxing. But sometimes revenge, when you got to be ready for revenge, and you can't just be jumping into things. I'm not saying he is, because I don't know what he's doing. I don't even know the problems that he had last time, because I obviously weren't with him. But maybe there was a problem in the background that none of us know about that he had, and he weren't 100% going into the Ruiz fight. Where maybe he might be thinking, now I'm going to be 100% going into the fight. So you don't really know what was behind all that. So maybe that's why he fancies the job so much, But as I say, he's a great fighter, AJ, can punch really hard, and he has got a good boxing brain on him. He just needs to tactically get it right tactically when he fights Ruiz next time.
Brilliant. Well, we really appreciate your time, Tony. I'll let you get back to your fighters, but yeah, always a pleasure.
Lovely. Thanks very much.
Cheers, man.